Hello, hello. Welcome back to Give Butter's Success Stories series. I am here today with TeenTix. You might recognize the name because we featured them as a campaign we love on Give Butter's site, as well as a good newsletter and our Instagram account. Recently, TeenTix's live stream raised over $46,000 on Give Butter, which was backed by more than 255 change makers. I think you're really going to love hearing about this one. I have Monique here with me, who's going to share how they raised funds and any tips, tricks, lessons learned from a unique perspective as an executive director of a nonprofit. So Monique, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your story with the entire Give Butter fam.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Yes, me too. So to start, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? And for those that aren't familiar, a little bit more about TeenTix as well.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm Monique Corsi, and I'm the executive director of TeenTix. I'm in my 5th year with the organization at this point, and I use she, her pronouns. And so TeenTix is a youth service organization, and we work to make arts and culture more accessible to young people in the greater Puget Sound area. So we started with our Cornerstone program, the PASS program, which is really about helping young people find where to look for events around town, whether it be dance, theater, improv, music, you name it. We have a calendar that lists everything that is TeenTix eligible. And with a free TeenTix pass, teens can go and see those events, go to the museum for $5 with their pass. So really just trying to make it as easy as possible for young people to just go and explore and find out what the community has to offer. And we have 2 more youth development programs in addition to that we've developed over the last 17 years that are featuring ways to become an arts leader in the community and learning about networking, learning how to put on events, kind of like pulling back the curtain a little bit of like people are on stage, but what else is there to producing this world of arts and culture? And that's a teen leadership program called the New Guard. And we also have a teen arts criticism and creative writing and creative thinking skills program called the Press Corps. And that's really honing in on helping youth find their own voice and find like the importance of their own voice we approach it through arts criticism, but also just in the world at large. Like, why is your voice important and why does your opinion matter? And how can you communicate that to people around you?
That's amazing. Thank you for the important work that you're doing for teens.
Yeah, absolutely. We love teenagers. They're great.
And we at Get Better, we just feel like such kindred spirits with you at TeenTix because we also call our folks change makers. And so the name of your event was title right at the top, Change Makers, Teens at the Forefront, which we just love, love, love. Yeah. Is this an annual event? Is this your first time going virtual? Break it down for us. What's the background of this event? What were you raising funds for?
Sure. So we do have an annual gala, as a lot of arts youth organizations do. Typically it's in the fall, and with pandemic during 2020, we took the opportunity to move our gala to the spring. So it was a lot of like new things for us this year in 2021. So we, for the very first time, had like a spring gala fundraiser, but then also it's typically a sit down dinner, raise the paddles sort of experience. Usually we have like between 175 to 200 guests at that event. So the virtual thing was a whole new ball game.
Wow.
It's just like, how does this actually work? I feel like we definitely learned a lot. It was very different. It was like stressful in new ways and not stressful in other ways. And it was just a whole thing.
Yeah. And how did your team or board like mentally pivot to that? Because it's a big change going from an in-person, more traditional gala to this super fun and spunky live stream virtual event that I'm definitely gonna share my screen and show because people have to see. It's so beautiful. But how did you guys handle that together, making that pivot?
I mean, I think that like we had the benefit of doing our virtual event spring of 2021 after a lot of organizations had done and tried virtual events for almost a full year at that point, right? So I think we were nervous and board was nervous and staff was like, how's this going to work? And I was just like, how are we going to, my biggest thing was, how are we going to recreate the energy that's in the room? And
Yeah,
the executive director, like, how do I network in a virtual space? And that was
right.
just like the weirdest thing for me to try and visualize. And it wasn't exactly the same, but there were ways that we tried to recreate some of that energy and that spark.
Mhm.
So I think overall it was like, how are we going to do this? This is new. But we had a really great board president who's also a fundraiser herself, and she was able to. She had done a lot of virtual events previously, has done a lot of virtual events with Give Better, like through the Give Better platform, and so she also felt really comfortable like leading us through the plan, and we were able to connect with other organizations that we were familiar with. We were live presenting at Kirkland Performance Center, which is one of the TeenTix partners that we work with to bring young people into their space. So
Mhm.
we worked with people kind of within our community, so it wasn't like everything was brand new. So we kind of
Mhm.
had some people that we felt comfortable with to start out.
Mhm.
But it was definitely a different experience. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm sure so many watching are just nodding their head with
Yep.
me. Yes,
Yep.
yes. So what was the structure or format of your event?
Sure. Yeah. So we ended up with 1 hour live combined with pre-recorded event. So kind of flip back and forth with some pre-recorded videos highlighting different stories about our programs, about the mission. And then we had two individuals live streaming from on stage at Kirkland Performance Center
Nice.
in Seattle area. And it was myself and our host. And pre-event, we had a virtual happy hour sort of deal
Ooh.
where we invited everybody who registered and who had a table to join us, virtual table, obviously with the Give Better pages, to join us for this pre happy hour for an hour where we just like we're on Zoom. We just chatted. We have had a couple of randomized Zoom rooms and just tried to get the energy going and had questions like, what's your TeenTix experience? Like, what are you eating for dinner? What was the first time you saw an arts event as a young person, and what did that mean to you? So kind of
How
some way
fun.
to loosen people up a little bit
Mhm.
so they could see maybe who they were watching with. And I think that really helped, at least for me. It helped recreate sort of that like experience in the lobby where you're greeting
Yeah.
people and you're kind of getting that, and like before you go to that podium and speak, right? Like it helped energize my experience, and I hope that it translated for those people who were watching, and they continued to stay on the Zoom call while the event started, so they had like that opportunity to continue to be with their small groups or their
Oh, wow.
table. Yeah.
Mhm. I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. That's so creative. I don't know
Yeah.
if I've heard of that format before.
Yeah, it was actually really fun. It allowed for like a personal chat in the Zoom while you could also do the Give Butter chat for like
Yeah.
the community. So it kind of felt like you could turn to someone if you were sitting next to them and like say, comment whatever you're going to comment, or, oh
Mhm.
yeah, I saw that too. But then also the entire room doesn't need to hear it. So
Right.
yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen for
Sure.
everybody who's just on the edge of their seat right now, wanting to see what this event looked like. I know they are. Um, so for everybody who's following along, of course, we're gonna link this so you can go ahead and take notes, just like Monique did of what everyone else was doing in the last year. You can
Yep.
watch their entire event. It's still up on their Give Butter page right now. You can see how they set up their donate process. You can see how they set up team member pages. And I just loved the way that you laid out your entire story.
Oh,
Great
thank
graphics here. So fun.
Yeah. I mean, and this part was interesting for us because there's a lot of people that have experienced a bunch of different virtual events, and uh it's not the same as just like inviting them into your space and leading them through a program, right? So I kind of felt like we had to put more detail out up front, like more of an itinerary, more
Mm.
about what to expect, like the tech support was a whole new thing, like how are we going to guide you through this? And I think it worked pretty well. It was tricky, but we had someone on call, had the office phone forwarding to her cell
Right.
phone and ready the waiting in case they got stuck in a Give Butter cycle or couldn't find the right page or the stream or the link. But yeah.
Yes. And I think that's such a great idea that you offered support as a new platform for people who are like, what Is this
Mhm.
Give Butter? Am I reading that right? What's
Yeah.
happening?
Where do I go now?
Why does it say Give Butter on my card? Is
Yeah.
that real?
Yeah.
But it seems like people really were engaged. I was looking at the supporter feed and the incredible use of gifts and heartfelt comments here. It was so fun to look at. So clearly people found it pretty easy to use. Do
Yeah.
you have any other tips, tricks, or lessons learned as we look at your page here?
Um, sure. I mean, I think I was surprised by a virtual event. It was easy. We used the team member section essentially as our table captain. So generally, we have board members host tables, invite their friends to our in-person event, and we kind of did this in the same way where we use this essentially as a peer-to-peer platform
Mhm.
where we had our board and some other friends and supporters of TeenTix started their own page, and then that's how they invited their friends to join the event. Some of these people I don't think actually tuned in, but still gave to their friend's event. Some of these people only created a page because they invited someone, but the person wanted to give in support of that individual. And so while they might not have wanted to like host a table, they just ended up creating a page quickly so that their friend could give to TeenTix through them or in recognition of them.
Mhm.
We did have one of these tables act as a teen table, so kind of like where our young people could come and group and gather. And we also created Zoom rooms in that, like I said, in that pre-Zoom happy hour, pre-show happy hour via Zoom based on these tables. And so
Oh,
we
okay.
were basically trying to recreate the like, all right, we're all in that same space, but then now you go sit at your
You have
table
your
with
table, right?
people.
Yeah.
So, like I said, some people showed up and some people didn't. So we did some merging kind of last minute, but it allowed us to kind of have a mingling experience, but then also move people into the space with their friends.
Mhm.
And the surprising thing for me was there were some people who started their team member page way in advance, right when we launched it. And then there were some people who day of or the day before or the week of just created one and invited a bunch of people and they showed up and or got gifts. And so I think the ease of that, because if you're in person, you have to have a head count and a food count and all of that in
Mhm.
advance, like the ease of just being able to do it so last minute or within hours of the
Yeah,
event
that's a
didn't
good
like
point.
hinder
Mhm.
anything, right? It actually was just more exciting to have
Mhm.
people. Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
Great. That's a great tip and especially helpful for those who have done, a traditional gala and are trying to, figure out how do
Yeah.
we translate this to virtual. It seems like you really were able to not only take that experience and kind of recreate virtual, but even add on some additional benefits and bonuses to like amp up that energy, create that
Yeah.
networking type of experience that builds community
Mhm.
of support for your organization. So, congratulations on all of your
Thank
success and
you.
incredibly fun event. Again, everybody, please watch this event and give them a follow. Just a really um, important message that they are sharing with their community and just a really well done fundraiser. So
Thank
kudos to you,
you.
Monique, and the entire TeenTix team.
Thanks so much. Thanks for talking with me.
Great to have you. And thank you, everybody else, for following along for another success story. We will see you again next week. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Give Butter's YouTube channel. Until then, happy fundraising. Bye, everybody.